This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 16 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new 2024 RDX, $419 a month during our 16th anniversary sale.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Miles an hour, that's a Category 4 hurricane. 3 deaths are reported in Florida after more than 24 were killed in the Caribbean. This
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 16 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new 2024 MDX, $469 a month during our 16th anniversary sale.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 80 3080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices. Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Take a journey to our Caribbean paradise at Toyota of Hollywood. Get in the groove with great deals on over 2,000 Toyotas, like a Corolla, not $24,000, just $17,975. You'll be cruising and chilling with super low 2.99% financing. Feel the rhythms of the Caribbean today at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Afternoon, one and all. Hope you all are doing well out there. Welcome aboard. It is Tuesday, August 6th. The great Sean Stanley, of course, by my side, getting it done as always. Day 11 of Miami Dolphins training camp. We are back from it. We went today. We feel slightly better today. We're still, I'm just not myself right now. I just am not. But what can I tell you? It's you're not in good shape when you're constantly sweating. It's like, just got to get this thing out, bro. Out. Oh, man. But anyway, so I kept my distance from most folks. Just a fist pump here or there. People took out their hands, and I was like, no, man, I don't want to shake, because I got a cold. I'm not. Obviously, somebody had a cold and, gave it to me. So it is what it is, but we'll get through it. So we got some stuff to talk about. Ira Winderman will join us today. Manny Navaro will join us today. David Furones, who I saw today at Dolphins training camp, will join us also. So we'll get their thoughts on all kinds of things. Obviously, Heat, basketball in general. I mean, I'm watching the Olympics, but I got to tell you something. I'll be brutally honest about this. When I watch the Olympics, men's basketball is like so low on my totem pole. I have to admit, it's really not that interesting to me. It's not something that oh my God, I got to go see it or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just what I want to see, the track and field and anything else that's gymnastics, you name it, some of the stuff that the stuff that I don't normally watch. I watch plenty of basketball. Do I really need somebody to tell me that the USA is the best country in the nation? I mean, best country in the world no, I don't need that. So, it's one of those where I'd rather, watch the 4x400 relay. I'd rather watch the 1500 run than that. Seriously. Although we have some amazing stuff going on in the Olympics, right? I mean, we have a pole vaulter that couldn't cross 2 poles. So, I mean, that in itself right there, that was a new one, because most times you only have to leap over 1 pole. And this guy couldn't leap over 2 poles. So, I mean, there are things that happen in the Olympics that are kind of interesting. Felt bad for Suni Lee yesterday when she fell on the balance beam. And that's just kind of, dude, you work for 4 years for this moment. You know what I'm saying? It is heartbreaking when we see stuff like that. At least that's kind of the way I look at it. It's just freaking heartbreaking. When you see that, because those people work so hard. It doesn't matter what country. Obviously, I'm rooting for America, but, it's just, wow, weird stuff, man. So you've kind of felt bad for Suni Lee there when she fell yesterday. So I kind of find myself, like, men's basketball will be on at 3:30, and it's like, yeah, I'll watch the highlights or something. I'm really not going to go back to watch every minute of the game. I just can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. It just doesn't. Maybe for the finals, maybe I'll do that. But now, at this point, it's one of those. Somebody's asking me about Sha'Carri. I know I just saw that right now. I sound much better. Thank you, Stephen. I feel slightly better, but not. I feel like I have more energy than I did yesterday. I mean, you know who I am every single day, and obviously you can tell I'm not myself right now. So I'm not going to have that same energy that I normally have when I do this thing every day. But somebody was asking me about Sha'Carri getting silver, and this is the thing about this sport. At that moment you must be the best. And while Sha'Carri, there's no doubt that she is a special, special talent, she was with some very gifted runners, man. And so you could easily lose. Noah Lyles he's a different dude. He's like Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson brought out the gold shoes back in those days, and that was arrogance at its highest level in those days. Nowadays, that wouldn't be considered as nothing. But Noah Lyles is, way ahead of that. And he'll tell you how good he is. But he has a level of cockiness to him and confidence. Whereas I think with Sha'Carri, she is super talented, but I don't believe her confidence is at the level of a Noah Lyles. You know who has Noah Lyles' confidence? And now I'm brain farting. Jesus Christ. The girl from Harvard. Damn, she always dominates in the 200. What's her name? That girl, because she mentally is at another level. I don't know why. She's my favorite runner on the female side, and I am completely brain farting on it. And it's like amazing that I cannot remember her name.
Is it Gabby Thomas?
Gabby Thomas. Jesus Christ. Gabby Thomas, yes. Gabby's like this super classy girl, super smart, right? And then she handles everything with like immense class, right? And then she gets on the track and she is a killer. And when I see Noah Lyles, I see the same balance. The guy that gets it off the track and on the track. Now Noah likes to mess with his competition. Gabby doesn't do that. She's very classy. She takes class to another level. You know what I'm saying? But she'll cut your heart out. So I think Sha'Carri, what I admire a lot about Sha'Carri was her maturity has grown leaps and bounds from 2-3 years ago when she didn't handle winning or losing very well. And people pointed it out. And she did a marvelous job of growing out of that and handling victories and the few defeats that she would have a completely different way. You know, and I know she gets bothered with people asking her about it, but it's kind of the game, man. Unfortunately, it's how you've changed, which is great. You know what I mean? So I think that with Sha'Carri, she just needs that next level of concentration. Okay? Because it's not ability. She doesn't lack that at all. But the maturity from an athlete, it's all different ball game, man. You know, you look at Katie Ledecky, same shit. She's just at another level. She really knows what she has to do and has the confidence to get it done. It's like Gabby. It's like Noah Lyles. I don't think Sha'Carri's there. Not yet. You know what I'm saying? I think she's young enough to come back, so she'll be fine. She'll be fine. It's part of the growing, man. Hopefully she'll get the gold in 4 years. You know what I mean? But she's fantastic. I've become a big Sha'Carri supporter because she saw her issues and she addressed them. And I thought that's awesome. It's awesome for any of us. You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of hers, you know, and hopefully she'll mature a little bit more because that's all it is. It has nothing to do with talent. That's the beautiful thing about it. Let's see, what else do we have? Instead of calling FIU Florida International University, it should be called Florida Worldwide University since Pitbull bought the naming rights. Yeah. I saw that. So I saw the quote about taking it to the next level. So naming rights of a stadium helps the play on the field? Wins? I mean, it's a funny story. You think about it. Let me break it down for you. So FIU will now be known as Pitbull Stadium. And they got $1.2 million per year is what they're paying for the naming rights, is what Pitbull is paying for the naming rights. Voli 305 vodka will be sold at the games. What do you say? An entire bottle? Maybe 2 bottles? Well, I guess if Pitbull is there that night at the game in the suite, because he has 2 suites for up to 40 people, I guess they'll drink the vodka. But throughout the stadium, the people that attend the games, the 300 people that attend every game, how much vodka are you going to sell? So I don't think you're really going to turn a profit there. And you get to use the stadium 10 times a year for your own. So is he going to hold a yearly concert there? Because he'll get his $1.2 million back like that. Pitbull's yearly festival at FIU. Right? Brings out a couple of acts, openers. He's the headliner, fills the stadium up, makes his $1.2 million and more back. Not a bad deal, by the way. And let me tell you something. Why haven't we had concerts at FIU Stadium? What is wrong with you people at FIU? I'm wondering. You've got a perfect facility there for concerts, and you haven't even ever really tried. Like, who's running that place over there? You know? You could actually compete for concerts with that. That's a really nice little venue. I don't know if you guys have been to that football stadium. That's a nice little football stadium, dude. They have not been able to maximize that place. But it's cute, but it's not going to do shit for you on the field. So I don't know if they will or not. I mean, I root for FIU. My daughter, my wife graduated both from FIU. So, we're an FIU home. You know what I'm saying? But man, they just can't get it done. Unfortunately, just can't get over the hump. And this coach is likable too, very likable dude. It's really tough to win there, man. Really tough to win there. Thoughts on the stock market crash? I think it's an adjustment. I think it's a what's that called? Oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? This isn't a crash like, oh my God, the world is coming to an end and all that kind of stuff. I think it was a correction is what it was. The market was on such a tear for so long and getting over 40,000 that you're going to have corrections. And I'll give you a very, let me see if I can find the stat, but it's interesting. The crash happened mostly because of retail. Retail is you and me. Do you know what the corporations and the whales are doing right now? They're all buying. They're all buying the dip. And on the crypto side, the same thing. Obviously, if the stock market is going to crash, then crypto follows after. And Bitcoin obviously took a plunge. But again, like, it's where we at right now. It went down to 49. It's at 57 now. So it washed out you and me, and then the rich people took over. And that's what this is. This is just a correction to scare the shit out of people. They know rate cuts are coming. They know the market is going to get infused with a lot of money because the money printers are going to open up. These rich people that run all this stuff, they know. So they can cause a little bit of panic, and it forces the retail to really panic and sell out. I have a friend of mine, I won't mention his name, saw him today at camp, and he inquired about Bitcoin. So I gave him some information to read, videos, all those kind of things. So I asked him, hey, should you take a dive? No, because it takes balls. Because you got to read, and then because it's something new to you, it's going to take some guts first. If you don't have the guts, you're not going to make any money. And that's what happened here. The people that sold are the people that are never going to make any money. Those are the people that panic and they get out, unfortunately. So if you weren't shook by it or shaken and you didn't sell, and instead you bought when it dropped, then you're the kind of investor that comes out in the end on top. So rate cuts are coming. They're going to infuse the market now with money. And this was just a correction. That's all it was. That's all it was. And by the way, as for recession, we're over 6%. It's just the numbers have been fudged. What I think people you don't want to hear this, or you may not believe me or whatever. Inflation is here to stay. When you've printed $30 trillion with the last 4 presidents, inflation is here to stay. You're not going to control it anymore. You've printed too much money. You've devalued your money, our dollar. So, that's why you've caused all these problems. You've caused these problems with banks. You've just caused all these problems for Americans. It's just, you just haven't handled things the right way. And the last 4 presidents are the ones that deserve all the blame for what's gone on. And the next president, whoever it is so screwed because there's no way they can make up for everything that's been done. And they're going to print another 10 trillion more. So inflation is here to stay. It's just they won't tell you that because that's super intimidating to tell somebody that. But you've been living with inflation now for years. So, especially the last 2 presidents, Trump and Biden, they have printed like we've never printed before. And so it's over. you know. So it's just our dollar will crumble in the next 10 to 15 years, probably. It'll take some time, but it's going to happen in the near future. It's going to be ugly, unfortunately. Let's see. Remember, you can make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And Hoyun, thank you, sir, as always. Appreciate you. Says, have a great week. Thank you, Hoyun. Very kind of you, sir. Thank you, as always. Incredible support every single time. You're amazing. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And, of course, you can make a Bitcoin donation, which we always appreciate the Bitcoin donations. Let's see. Mateo says, I worry Trump will dissolve all crypto. You don't know anything about crypto, do you, Mateo? You know, Mateo, if you don't know anything about crypto, how can you make comments like that? They can't control this. You can't control Bitcoin. No country can control it. No city can control it. No one can control it. Okay? I don't know who you listen to. I don't know who you read. I don't know what you watch. But, you know. And listen, I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a Kamala guy. I think they're both terrible candidates. And her pick of Waltz does not help the crypto industry out. And I haven't heard her say jack shit how she'll be different in crypto. So, you know, listen, doesn't matter who wins. We're kind of screwed as it is, you know, in a way, fiscally. Okay. All the other stuff, well, then that, you know, who you like on each side, whatever, you know, but fiscally, it's, yeah, I don't, you know, I haven't met a Democrat that doesn't love to tax the shit out of you. So, you know what I mean? I can't do anything about that. So the Waltz thing is not going to help crypto. That's for sure. First of all, you got to tell me where a Democrat helps crypto, period. End of story. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Damn, these people have investments in Ukraine. You tell OBJ to tune into the show more often instead of having to ask you at practice. Just saying, LOL. You should have saved your $2, Mateo, but at least it's going to a good cause. Yep, 35 trillion. It'll be 45 trillion with the next president. 45 trillion. One-Eyed Jack says, I don't sell. I bought more. I'm never selling my Bitcoin. Hopefully one day it will go to my kids. That's what I'm doing. My Bitcoin's going to when you guys make the donation, you're making a donation to my daughter. You're not making it to me. I don't give a shit about me. I've lived my life, dude. I'm almost, 58. I'll be going to 60. What do I got left? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Goes to my daughter. So it is what it is. Going to force the currency will be Bitcoin. That will be a forced currency for some. It'll be a savings for others, but it will be currency. Guaranteed, it'll be currency. And if not, you'll see currencies going back to being backed by Bitcoin, gold, silver, those kind of things. We have to get back to that. We have to get back to a way of the money, something being behind the money. It's the only way. Classic cap. Well, I wore this because Zach Thomas introduced Tim Bowens. And it's not there yet. So yesterday, I forgot to mention because I'm not in great shape right now as it is. I forgot to mention yesterday that Tim Bowens is getting inducted into the Dolphins honor roll. And so I figured I would wear Zach's Hall of Fame hat that I bought at the Hall of Fame for that today. And Timbo was a special dude. Let me tell you, man, it's hard to find players that don't give a shit about credit. It's hard to find players that don't want to be in the all-pro team or They want the spotlight on them, or that dude just brought the lunch pail, did his job, freed up the linebackers, and one thing about Zach, and he's mentioned it many, 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 many times, is how grateful he is for having Timbo in front of him for all those years, because it allowed him to roam and not get eaten up by guards and centers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that you notice when you see a Tim Bowens, that this is a guy that was truly all about the team. He did not give a shit about his stats, himself. You talk about a guy that wanted to sacrifice for his team. Dude, that's Tim Bowens. That is Tim Bowens. I kind of regret not going to the press conference yesterday, but I didn't feel well. So I was driving to the facility yesterday, and I just said, I'm not doing this. I got to go back. There's no way. And the best thing I did was stay in bed all day, pretty much. That's what I did. When I got off the show, I did a short show with you guys yesterday. I pretty much stayed in bed. That's it. It's the only thing I could do. It's what I needed to do, unfortunately. But, yeah, Timbo is as special as it gets, man. Just a dude that you want on every football team. A dude, the kind of person you want in every organization, period. You know what I mean? Special dude, Tim Bowens, man. I'm glad that he got the Ring of Honor, because he's not ever going to be in the Hall of Fame. But he was really important to those teams. Super, super important, man. Big time way. Hey, Sean, do me a favor. Give me 15 seconds so I can turn on the AC. Get a little hot here.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right. I don't even know if I have COVID or not, to be honest, true Fin fan. I don't really care at this point. I don't think COVID is shit anymore. It's been, watered down already. It was bad maybe early on, obviously, because we had lots of people dying. But I don't even know if it's COVID or not. I just think it's a cold. I didn't even get tested, to be quite honest. I'm not worried about it. It will be out of my system in a couple of days, and I'll be fine. My financial advisor says to put all my money in my 401k and savings account. Oh man, they got they got to give banks crypto. Come on, man, let's go help them out. You're killing them with the rates and the dollar and all that, and you're killing the customers. And people will not like what I do, and like some of you that we have our self-custody, and it's very intimidating for most. They just won't do that. So you need banks so they can be more adept to trying something that will free up themselves a little bit more in crypto. But we'll see. We shall see. I remember when Bowens was drafted, people made a big deal of him being a possible bust because he was missing some toes. He turned out to be a beast. Yeah, he was a beast and a half. Hell of a player. Let's see what else. Big O, when you have the when's the last time you've been to Sports Grill? Haven't had the wings in a minute. I don't know. It's been a while. True Fin fan. Let's see. Tim Bowens last 3. Yes. What's up, everyone? Checking in from San Jose, California. Thank you, John. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you. All right, let's do it. Let's take a quick break. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little basketball with the one and only Ira Winderman when we come back with our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 16 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new 2024 MDX, $469 a month during our 16th anniversary sale.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Just one place sold the most Acura models in the last 16 years. Acura of Pembroke Pines. Drive the new 2024 RDX, $419 a month during our 16th anniversary sale.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
All righty. How you doing, my friend? You doing all right?
I'm doing good. I'm waiting to see if today's the day the Heat sign Zion Pullen or cut Zion Pullen, because it seems like he's been the ultimate offseason yo-yo for the Heat, which sort of shows you how the NBA offseason can be so much in flux.
How we have fallen. Zion Pullen.
Gators, baby, Gators. We got a lot of Gator listeners out there.
So we're done, right? Like, there's no way there's a move or anything, like, right? A big move or anything, right? There are no options, no nothing. This is what they're rolling with. So they're going to go all out with Jimmy and hope that either he has a good season that you then extend him, or he has a bad season that he screws you over and takes the final year, or he has a good season and goes somewhere else.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting, Big O, because everyone's been mentioning options 1, A, and C, that he has a good season, gets the extension, doesn't get what he wants and leaves. But there's that middle area that you just pointed out, that what if Jimmy doesn't have it anymore and now he stays around for a $52 million year? How do you adjust out of that? And again, let's give credit where credit is due, even though your head is almost too big for that baseball cap as it is. You mentioned about giving Jimmy a contract and an extension, what it could do down the road. We're seeing where it stands now. Let's not fully count him out. Let's see how this plays out. Again, when Jimmy's been available in the playoffs, and I know he wasn't available at all last year, they made the conference finals 3 the other 4 seasons. We'll see if he can redo that. It makes all the sense in the world for Jimmy to push all out and show, hey, at 35, I can be like Kevin Durant is at 36. I can still get it done. And then you know what, Big O? When he opts out, if I'm the Heat, I have a clean slate. I can decide to bring him back. I can decide to see what other options are. I could decide to see if Bam is more than a super role player, or if the Heat's young kids need another year or two to grow. The heroes maybe, but certainly Jovic and Khalil Ware and Jaime Jaquez, and do that also. The Heat right now don't have the optionality, literally, until Jimmy Butler opts in or opts out of that final year. But at least we could see various game plans going. So yes, I think mostly the Heat are where they are. We know there are 14 players. I joked about the two-way possibilities, what they might do with Drew Smith or Kashad Johnson or Isaiah Stevens or Zion Pullen, but they have some optionality there. But yeah, they're going to roll with this, I think, intriguing mix of older and younger, and see where they best wind up and where they best mesh. And again, if Jimmy is good, the Heat are good, because Jimmy's a really good player when Jimmy's good, but Jimmy has to show up. So I'm going to make the biggest deal out of it if he misses one of the first 3 games or 2 of the first 5 games. Because you know what, Big O, that'll set a tone of concern. I think
it's the same shit all over again. You don't.
Well, see, I can't use language like that in the print, but you can. So what I'm saying is, there'll be no better statement made by Jimmy Butler than if he plays, let's say, the first 10 games, every one of them. Then we can sit down, we can exhale. Wow, Jimmy might be in for the long run. But if he's going to start cherry picking, if he's going to go second night of a back-to-back, I never play in Minnesota, I'm not going against that team, then we're going to have concerns. Jimmy's going to dictate so much of this season, no matter Bam's growth, no matter Tyler's growth, no matter what Khalil Ware does. That's just what it is. And you know what? When you're paying a guy $50 million, that's the story of your team. So you sort of hope for the best, wish for the best, and then we'll see come camp which Jimmy Butler shows up.
I do say this. I like the veteran youth movement because since you really don't know where you're going next year, it gives you the option that you're doing both right now, and you're preparing yourself for what may happen next year, whether you have to deal with another year of Jimmy because he's broken down, which is kind of what I'm afraid of.
Sure.
But, really, it's really about developing these young guys, and they need that break that one young guy that they find becomes a star. That's what they need.
And they have one who appears trending that way in Jaime Jaquez, and he got to work with the U.S. select team. We thought Tyler Hero was on that track. Here's my thought, and I know I'm a lot different than a lot of your listeners here in the Acura Pembroke Pines Report. I just enjoy having fun when I go to work and seeing players who are intriguing. Big O, I think you would agree. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is an intriguing, fun player to watch. Would you agree with that?
Hell yeah, so is Jovic.
Nikola Jovic is a young, fun. I mean, this guy's a 6'10", unicorn for what he can do. I find him fun to watch. Hell, I find him fun to watch, except he was today in the Olympics and playing alongside Jokic. So I find that fun. And didn't you, at the least, Big O, find it intriguing in Summer League what Khalil Ware might do, that he might be sort of a Hassan Whiteside, but with his head on his shoulders correctly, right?
Right. If he wants to play basketball, it relieves Bam of some of that responsibility. Plus, I think you become better at blocking in the paint because that's not something that Bam does. He's
6'9", sure. Yeah.
No. Alonzo Mourning was 6'9", and he would block every motherfucker that was in the paint. Okay, there's a difference between a dog and no dog. Okay, and Bam doesn't bring that dog in that area. Alonzo Mourning, you could tell him he's 6'9". He wasn't going to take any of that shit. He was going to block whoever he could. He was going to block. Not only was he going to block it, he was going to block it and keep it in bound. That's how good Zoe was. So to me, it's different. But with Khalil Ware, you get better inside, I think, defensively, because he goes after blocks, and that's what I like. Where Bam just does not go after.
But Big O, let's pull it back to this initial conversation.
One more thing for your intriguing that you missed. I think they got a dude that has a little bit of Drazen Petrovic in him. You didn't mention? Yeah.
He's intriguing, but he also went at 44 for a reason. So I have to wait on that. I have to wait on that, but he could be.
I like his aggressive nature is what I'm saying. When I'm watching him, he's got a little dog in him. So I don't know what's I don't know what's more. I don't know if the kid's going to become a player or not, but I'll tell you something. Pallel Larson is a guy that I want to see more of because maybe there's something there, dude.
And you got to agree also, and I know you have your thoughts on who he is and what he is, but Bam Adebayo is fun to watch because he goes all out on both ends. He might not be the most skilled offensive player. He might not be the most aggressive big man, but he plays hard. He does the right thing. So what I'm saying is, I think he's
skilled. I just don't think he has. He doesn't want it all the time, like to score. That's my problem. And the last time we had the conversation, you're like, well, maybe if he takes that, I'm like tired of waiting for that already. Either you are that or you're not that, and that's what he hasn't proven to me. You know what I mean? And it's year in and year out, and year in and year out with that. Maybe if you put the kid in the middle where, and he goes outside, and maybe he's forced to score more.
Sure.
I don't know. We'll see, but I'm kind of tired of waiting for that. Either you are it or you're not. And that's usually.
But my point being, Jaquez, fun. Jovic, fun. Ware, potentially fun. fan enjoyable because of the effort. So it comes
awesome.
down to Jimmy. And you know what? Jimmy's not always fun to watch. And Jimmy shows up and sometimes goes through the motions, and that's obvious. So what we need to see is Jimmy fully engaged.
Right.
I don't know if he can be, because when's the last time in the regular season he has been? It has been years. It was down the stretch in the bubble when they were desperate and they had to win, and he came in and he was his own private reserve there and had nothing else to do. Couldn't shoot commercials, couldn't sell coffee to the general public in the bubble. He was more focused there. So a lot of this is on Jimmy. And I trust Jimmy in the playoffs. I have to learn to regain trust in Jimmy during the regular season because that's been taken away. That's been robbed. How many times have you sat at home, or if you're at the arena, everyone out there listening, and you didn't know if Jimmy's going to play that night? And you're going through Twitter. Who's playing? What are the starting lineups? Wait a minute. Hawkins is starting, not Jimmy? You got to stop that. You got to give people what they want. You've got to show up every day. My thought is, and I might stand alone, when you're making $500,000 a game, whether you play or not, it might behoove you to actually play.
Yeah, no, of course. You have to play. I mean, come on, dude. It's just, listen, the conversation has to be, hey, Jimmy, you try in the regular season, we can be a top 4 seed. You don't try, we're going to the play-in again.
And
we're
desperation,
I mean, it's just, now, do you want to keep doing the play-in stuff? Because we can't, the thought that, we'll play right out of the play-in. That's bullshit, dude.
No, that's playing with fire. That is playing with fire.
That's never been the norm in the NBA, and it never will be the norm. And I know that LeBron pulled it off for a year or two in Cleveland. I get it. I get he kind of didn't take it, and he got away with it. You know what I'm saying? But overall, it's just you have to take the regular season somewhat serious.
I agree.
And if you're the Heat, you can't afford to be 8 or 7, dude.
I agree.
You need to be at 5 or 4 or 3. You need to have some home games. You need to give yourself an advantage. You need to give yourself a week's rest when the season's done.
Great point for an older roster. And you need to give yourself a chance not to face the number 1 seed in the first round, but play the number 1 seed in the third round when you've regained your mojo and Jimmy's back to being Jimmy, and maybe the other team's tired and maybe someone else over there is injured instead of over here is injured. So I agree with all of this. To me, it starts in training camp. I want to see what Jimmy Butler shows up. But if he shows up as an independent contractor who's just contracted for the playoffs, man, I don't know what the Heat are going to do. It's a tough spot for Eric Spoelstra because no one tells Jimmy what to do. So we have to see what Jimmy's going to do. I agree.
And a long 2 years, because then that means he'll opt into the player option and take the $52 million.
Or get traded, or maybe get traded. I know you could say no, but Big O, you know one thing about this NBA. There's always a trade.
If he has another one of the years he's had the last 2 years, he's untradeable.
Unless you take someone else's money, some different money. Maybe you do something like that. You take on some other player, you reform it, a younger player from a more desperate team. LeBron wants to win one more year, you do that. But that's down the road. First, let's see how Jimmy shows up. I almost feel like I have to run this on Sentinel, the daily Jimmy energy meter. Is Jimmy engaged? Yay. Is Jimmy not engaged? Not so yay. That's really who he is. It's kind of strange.
And we really have 3/4 of a season, right? Because if he's kind of not himself, it's not completely committed or whatever, then you're going to part ways in the trading deadline, so you don't have to pay $52 million on the back end.
I agree. The first half of the season is essential to the Heat. I still don't know if it's essential to Jimmy because he still knows he has 2 years and $100 million left, that someone will pay him from somewhere. So it's going to be really interesting. It's almost going to be as interesting, Big O, as what he says is what he does, because that'll say how engaged he is. If he talks after a loss as, it's just 1 of 82, then you're right back to where you were this past season. I agree.
Yeah. All right. What do you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Well, today, 3 of the 4 Olympic Games are over. U.S. is going to take on overmatched Brazil. So it's kind of interesting. Canada is out today. Wrote about how Serbia won their game. Nikola Jovic was ill, didn't play. Hopefully he's back on Thursday when they probably will play Team USA, because that'll be interesting. Our old friend, Evan Fournier, who we sort of forgot about, destroyed a really talented Canada team today. So I tweeted out, it was almost like the Magic version of Evan Fournier that was out there. So the Olympics are hitting their crescendo. Semifinals on Friday, bronze and gold medal games on Saturday. We'll see if Bam comes home with the gold, if Spoelstra comes home with the gold. One thing I wrote about today also, I don't know how much Olympics you've been able to catch or not,
A lot.
Dwayne Wade's really good. Dwayne Wade, as an analyst and doing the broadcast alongside Noah Eagle, has been really good. I think he's found his place, a nice mix of humor and of analysis. So I wrote a little bit about that also. And then just looking at the sort of the Heat situation, I know I kidded when I started our Accurate Pembroke Pines report about Zion Poland, but it will be interesting to see which the next group of young players that the Heat will try to cultivate. Because you can say what you want. Oh, Ira is just an Exhibit 10, but so is Caleb Martin. I'm rather a two-way, but so is Caleb Martin. So is Duncan Robinson. Usually they find one. Maybe it's Keshad Johnson, the undrafted forward out of Arizona. Maybe it winds up being Drew Smith. I know we kid about that. Maybe he finds his legs. Maybe he doesn't. You can never be too old for that. Maybe it's Josh Christopher, the kid who stepped up with his streak scoring at the end of camp. Here's the difference. We're watching the Dolphins now. Big O, correct me if I'm wrong on this. NFL camps, about 95 players is the early limit. That's about the number, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, and they only keep 53. So you're talking about a ton of names you're never going to see again after they get injured in the exhibition games. The nice thing about the NBA is the Heat can keep up to 18 players, aren't allowed to bring more than 21 to camp. So you might joke about the names I mentioned, but every guy has a real shot. There are not throwaway players. I like that the NBA does that. Has a 21-player even off-season limit. So it's not like this college program with a gazillion walk-ons. You don't know who's who. Two guys are wearing the same number. So I think the Heat will give us another young player, intriguing player, maybe even an Isaiah Stevens, the undrafted guard out of Colorado State. But the Heat development pipeline has been real good. And like you pointed out, think about the draft pipeline, the last 4 drafts. Say what you want about Bam. Hell of a pick in 17, late lottery. Tyler Hero, hell of a pick in 19, late lottery. For where he was drafted outside the top 10, or would you rather have Justice Winslow?
It's a decent pick, but the extension, he didn't live up to it.
What if an average salary? Okay, but I'll go there with that. Then you had Jovic, then you had Jaime Jaquez, now you have Khalil Ware, and a player you like in the second round, and Pelle Larson. So they've done that. They've brought that along. They've given you that. And I think this year Eric Spoelstra gives the kids a chance. Because you know what? If Jimmy really is that much older, then I would say this to Jimmy. Jimmy, instead of not showing up 20 games, show up every game and give me your bust your ass best for 30 minutes. I'll cover the other 18 minutes of your position. That's what I would say. And let these kids go out, use their fouls, play hard, and do it that way. I need Jimmy every night. I don't need him for 40 minutes because Jimmy Butler's best 30 minutes should be good enough on this team.
No, and there are days where he plays, but he really is not playing. He's just kind of going through the motions, and those are bullshit days too. He cannot.
I totally agree.
He cannot afford a mediocre average Jimmy Bucket. They need Jimmy Buckets. They just need Jimmy Buckets. If they have Jimmy Buckets, then are they a championship caliber team? Hell no. But they'll scare the shit out of anybody.
They'll contend. And you know what the expression when you say someone's not all there? There have been too many nights last season, even before, when Jimmy wasn't all there. They need him all there. At that pay scale, at the Jimmy Butler and Orlando Alzagari pay scale, you have to show up every day for work.
I just think of Alonzo Mourning. And
he didn't know any other way. He didn't know any other way.
Exactly. You try to tell Zoe to take a night off or cruise in a game or something, he would look at you with some nasty ass look. Like that's, or PJ Brown or any of these kind of cats, bro.
Dan Marley, Tim Hardaway, Grant Long.
Yeah, you just don't tell these people.
It's a different time. It's a different time. Those guys were like playing for their food. Now it's about playing for your salary and playing about body preservation for your next contract and playing for your endorsements. It's a different time. I don't love it, but you have to accept it because that's what it is.
Yeah, there was a lot more pride in the game before, unfortunately. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch his work there at the South Florida Sunset. No, Ira, as always, thank you. We'll catch up next week.
We'll do our Olympic review, see how Bam and Spo did. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There you go. And hopefully Spo will be the next Olympic coach. Accurate Pembroke Pines, they got it going on, baby. Yes, Larry Schlossberg, #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. You can't beat that, baby. 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. And folks, the ZDX is in. You can get with lease, conquest, or loyalty, $469 a month. For all approved leases, $499 a month. Get electrified, baby. Over 320 miles to the full charge. 2.9% financing for 48 months. That is a cool deal. The 2024 Integra, we still have a few of those. You can get it for $319 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The MDX, we've had 2 of those in our house. We only have 1 right now. But the 2024, you can get it for $479 a month, 3.9% financing again for 60 months. Go check it out. They've got a lot that is overflowing. And the beauty about an overflowing lot is you get to pick the car you want, the color you want, the style you want, the model you want. But most importantly, the price you want, the best deal in town. You get it at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right. Let's get to a little Dolphins talk. Today, Tua, by the way, threw an absolute beautiful dime to Tyreek, about 50 yards, right on the money again. Mike Hughes was in coverage. Now, Mike Hughes got some revenge a couple of plays later where he picked up an interception off of Tua, okay? Chop Robinson blew up a running play from the nose. He was lined up on the center. It's pretty cool. Few low snaps still, pads, contact, okay? Patrick Paul struggled in the one-on-ones. He had one good rep, but he struggled in the one-on-ones. He had a pancake block in the team drills. One guy, he just threw his ass. I forgot who it was, but he threw his ass down to the ground. So that was actually cool. The first team offensive line did not do well today. They could not hold up the blitz at all. So you could tell it was first time seeing something different for them and all that. But they did a very mediocre job today. Okay. A lot of penetration, dude. There was a scuffle with Ethan Bonner and Drake London. It was kind of a collision and physical by Bonner's part and Elijah Campbell also. So then it was on the far side field. Whatever, bro. A scuffle, no big deal. Nothing. Penix did have a 40-yarder to Hodge. Saron Neal was in coverage on that one. Let's see. Waddle, Berrios, Ezukama, Ahmed, Walker, Brooks, Kamara, Poyer, all out today. So it'll be interesting to see which one of these guys comes back for tomorrow's practice and who rests. Does Tyreek rest tomorrow? Does Waddle play? You know, I don't know. We'll see. Tyreek did talk today and talked a little bit about the bomb from Tua. It was by the way, the offensive line did well on one-on-ones because I went over to that side of the field to see it up close myself, and I thought they did all right actually. But when it came to putting them all together on the teams and Atlanta started blitzing, they messed up a lot today. Not a good day for the offensive line. So we'll see if they pick it up tomorrow and they get called out, watch the film and all that good stuff. And we'll see how they play tomorrow. But it was not a good performance, I have to say, by the offensive line today. It was one that you would have to be really concerned. Tua threw several nice passes today. Threw in a Craycraft, threw another one. It was Hill, actually. By the way, Julian Hill has had himself just one hell of a camp, dude. One hell of a camp. He has really grown up in this offseason here in his second year, really understanding the offense. He just looks comfortable. And, man, he looks the part, too, on top of all. And today wasn't like his best day or anything. I think he had one catch that I saw. But overall, like, he has had, really good, man. Really good camp. Really impressed with what he's done so far. Let's see. What else do we have going on? All right. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. And, of course, Alan Blanco and the great people at 3A Graphics. Listen, if your business, you need some uniforms, hats, shirts, listen, support the great people that support us. 3A Graphics and Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. They're in Hialeah, and they can do work for anybody, anywhere, really. I mean, do you have to go there? No, you can do it all by phone and by email. Everybody knows that. You're really not going to go there. So you could actually call them from anywhere in the country, to be quite honest, if you need the work. So those of you who want to use our terrific sponsors that support us, 3A Graphics, man, 786-618-1443. Also, FIU has a new stadium sponsor. It'll be called Pitbull Stadium, as Pitbull has a 5-year agreement with FIU worth $1.2 million per year. He gets 2 suites for up to 40 people, the use of the venue for 10 days a year, and he will pay $1.2 million per year for the rights. Thursday night, Chase Stadium, round of 32 Leagues Cup. Miami will host Toronto. Charles Barkley will not retire. He will not join ESPN, Amazon, or NBC. He's in the middle of a third year of his 10-year deal, and he plans to stay with TNT for the remainder, whether TNT keeps or loses NBA basketball. What are they going to do? Are they going to have a basketball show without the games? That would be interesting. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. All right. The one thing about I'm going to be in the minority here, okay? That show practically does nothing for me anymore. That shtick is old as hell already. So, but people still love it. They still watch it, So, who knows? I don't know what the hell they're going to do. If they lose the NBA, it'll be kind of interesting what they could do with that, because it's kind of weird. Can we be honest here? We're paying a guy $50 million that broke down and doesn't bring it every night. How is that? No, it's not Heat culture. He's not Heat culture. That's the funny part. After everything, you realize that Jimmy Butler isn't Heat culture. Alonzo Mourning, that's Heat culture. UD, that's Heat culture. Wade, Heat culture. Jimmy Butler is not Heat culture. You just had a lot of winning with him, and the part that and by the way, please smash the hell out of the like button. The part that is interesting about Jimmy Butler for a lot of you out there, most of you aren't willing to admit that, yeah, they've had a lot of success and they got so many breaks. The bubble was a break. And 2 years ago, Embiid and Giannis injured, breaks. But nobody talks about that enough. Oh no, they made the finals. Yeah. They made the finals, but they got breaks while they made the finals. You're not going to get those breaks all the time. So yeah, it's been a really successful run. Don't get me wrong. But that's the funny part of it. Jimmy Butler is not Heat culture. Heat culture is not about not playing and not trying. I just that doesn't happen in the ticket department for the Heat. If you're a janitor, you're kicking ass in that arena. I've told you this before. That is a group of the best employees I have ever seen in my life at the Miami Heat organization. Those people truly care about their organization, top to bottom. They're prideful as a mofo about that organization. It is a special organization from top to bottom. And Jimmy Butler does not represent the scouting department, the ticket department, the janitors, the people serving food, the security. He doesn't represent any of those people. They all work harder than he does every night. They bring it every day and every night, and there's just I'm telling you, I've never seen a group of employees with more pride about their organization than the Miami Heat. When they tell you it's a family, brother, it is the truth. So I'm a huge fan. Now, I'll be honest and tell you, hey, the last 10 years, some of the decisions have been the basketball decision. But yeah, they're about playing it the right way. Let's see what else. It's definitely an old shtick, but ESPN's cover. Yeah, it is. Chase, that's a dude. That is the best point. That's Chase, brother. That is awesome on your part. Like, it's old shtick. I'm kind of tired of it. Doesn't really do much for me. But when you turn to ESPN, even the old shtick is 1,000 times better than that shit. The shtick is better than the shit. You're correct. When you're right, bro. I can't argue when people are right. And you're right. You're right. I'm looking at it the wrong way. Like, I'm not impressed, but what's the alternative? ESPN? Yeah. Right. So, yeah, dude. You're right. Checking in from the UK, Rock Bear says, really interested to know how joint practices went. We just spoke about it just a couple of minutes ago. You may want to rewind just a little bit there. It's about time for Jimmy. Are the young players ready? Well, not for big things, but you got to give them some playing time so they can grow. Butler is more of a diva. Let's see what hairstyle he comes to camp. Right. Heat are scared of the alternative. Yeah. Yes, my wife is one of them, 22 years. Oh, John, are you saying your wife works for the Heat? Is that what you're saying? Let's see. They need to trade Butler. Oh, Heat culture. Oh, okay, yeah. I guess that's what you mean. Yeah, dude. I've never seen a group of employees that stand more prideful for their organization than Heat employees. Never seen it. It's not even close. Not even close. So I know other organizations in town, if they hear this, they might get insulted by it, but I don't really. When have I ever given a shit about that? You know what I'm saying? Not really worried about that. But yeah, so yeah, Jimmy Butler kind of dishonors those folks in that organization, top to bottom. All right, let's do it. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little Hurricanes with the one and only Manny Navaro in our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navaro. Exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navaro.
Alrighty. How you doing, my man? You got a Dolphin shirt on. Where'd you get that discounted? Because that's I know you.
This is old school, bro. They got a little Dan Marino action going here.
All right. No, because I know you hit the discount rack for sports shirts.
I do.
Right?
I like getting everything I can for a huge discount. I get lots of jerseys like that for sure. But no, this is old school. I've had this in my closet for like 15 years. So,
by the way, folks, I'm not insulting him. He told us that.
I did tell you
that he'll go to a sports store and they have like the rack that is just on sale, and he'll grab a shirt from whatever, dude. It's the Chargers or the Portland Trailblazers or whatever, but it's $4. So he'll just
exactly.
It's not like he's a fan of it, but he'll wear. So that's why I was wondering if that was one of those special racks specials.
No, I think my wife got me this a long time ago. So
it has a Hall of Fame logo and everything on it.
Got the Marino Hall of Fame shirt. So
yeah, that's badass, actually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Will you be attending Pitbull Stadium?
I will be going. I'm sure I will at some point. We'll be down at FIU to go see FIU and Pitbull in action. I don't know how often he will be there. I know he's got like I think 10.
He has 10 days to use it.
Yes.
Why doesn't he have a Pitbull festival?
I'm assuming that's what he's going to do.
Let me ask you something. Like, what the hell are the people in FIU doing? That fucking stadium is excellent for concerts.
Yes, absolutely.
Shows, all kinds of like, why haven't you even tried to get yourself in the mix for all of that? And if I'm Pitbull, you have 10 days, man, do a weekend festival where you headline on Sunday and you have acts all weekend. And bro, the 1.2 million, he makes that 10 times over in a weekend.
100%. I think that's ultimately the plan here. I mean, I think he played at the University of Texas last year, if I'm not mistaken. He made like 610 grand for that alone. So you figure if he throws some of his buddies on stage, like you said, has a 3-day, 4-day festival, who knows what else he uses it for. But listen, smart idea by FIU, smart idea by Pitbull to get in business with one another. FIU needs all the attention they can get. So this is one way to do that.
Only problem is Voli 305 vodka will be sold at the games. Yeah, maybe they might sell 2 whole bottles in a whole season because there's like 300-400 people that go to those games. So,
right.
Unless it's his suite, because he has 2 suites with up to 40 people, maybe that's where they'll drink the vodka. But, it's fun and all that, but it's not going to help you on the field at all, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got to.
Well, you never know. Maybe with NIL, right? Maybe this gets them the kind of attention where some of these kids that would normally leave, and he is going to be involved in NIL with FIU. Maybe these kids that would go to
can only buy you a quarterback. You still got to buy the rest of the team.
Listen, bro, they'll take 5 guys at this point, right? Take 1 offensive lineman, 1 D lineman, a cornerback, a receiver, and a running back. Whatever it is that you can afford, right? That's what you do with it. So
that's interesting story, dude. It's fun, and I'm happy for it. And they got some money, but I'm hoping I get a festival out of it. So that way, I got a concert close to me, and maybe I'll go with the wife and go hang out and go see some Pitbull action there. All right, you guys got to talk to the coordinators today, Shannon Dawson, and he's not afraid to put pressure on himself. Because, they were 24th last season in yards per play. He thinks they can do a lot better. Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's certainly sort of stepped up to the plate in terms of expectations with this group. But I think part of that is him just challenging the guys that he has. I mean, when you've got 3 800-yard receivers, when you've got a guy in Damian Martinez who ran for 1,000 yards, and you got this offensive line that you have a lot of confidence in, you think you can make a jump. And so he essentially said today he thinks they can be top 5, top 10 in yards per play. Last year, Miami was 24th. They improved a ton, got a lot better. But, he's expecting big things. And I think it sort of speaks more to the expectations internally for this team, right? Like Mario Cristobal is not going to come out and say, hey, we're winning the ACC title and playing for the national championship. But this tells you that if the offensive coordinator can come out and say, hey, I expect this to be top 5, top 10 in yards per play, then they're expecting more points and more success than they had a year ago.
Yeah, and they're expecting their quarterback to be as special as because, man, we are putting a lot of expectations on that young man when we don't know if everybody else around him is ready to perform at an elite level. Does he have elite receivers? No.
Yeah.
Does he have a proven tight end? No. The only thing that I really like is I think they've got a good offensive line. And because of the Martinez kid, then you've got maybe the backs you need. But in the other areas, there's a lot of question marks, dude. And if he's going to be special at quarterback, you need a special receiver or 2. And I like the one kid, but he's a number 3 at best.
Restrepo, I'm sure you're talking about, right? Yeah.
4 in the receiving cores that we used to see here at the University of Miami. He's a 4 at best. Okay.
Yeah.
So here he should be a 3 in this offense. So do
Yeah.
you have 1 or a 2? And so that's why I'm saying that the coach, man, puts a lot of pressure on himself for that.
Yeah, and look, Sammy Brown is a guy that, wasn't necessarily a national name. He was at the University of Houston, but he's a guy that I think is built with some special ingredients. He's really, really fast. A guy that has played in the Shannon Dawson offense before. I listen to the players more so than I do the coaches. Because I feel like the players are usually more honest than the coaches, right? And when Cam Ward talked about Sammy Brown and what he brings his team, about how he can win one-on-one matchups, beat man coverage, and how important he is to his offense, my eyes kind of perked up a little bit, because he doesn't have to say any of that. And the fact that he did tells me that he thinks he's got a really good one there. So maybe Sam Brown develops into that guy. Maybe it's JoJo Trader, the freshman that just got here, that I know has high expectations for the future. Maybe he's sort of accelerated at a higher rate. Maybe it's Isaiah Horton, who's the big physical guy who they were excited about internally, that's in his 3rd year now, and it's kind of the time for him to produce. I don't know. Maybe it's Jacoby George. Maybe that guy stops making dumb penalties and starts performing to a much higher level. But the feeling is that between Cam Ward and all the different weapons they have, that they can meet expectations this year and be a really good team.
All right. Lance Guidry gave us some news on who's starting at safety. Talk to us.
Yeah, he basically came out and said Jaden Harris is going to be the starter opposite Mish Powell at safety. I don't know if he necessarily intended for it to come out that way, but it did. He kind of said it in passing, and so he's running with the first team and basically getting a lot of the first team reps. Which, not that I doubted Jaden Harris would be the starter going into camp, but it was sort of an unresolved deal where going into camp, it could have been a lot of different guys. Could have been this freshman Patterson who just got in, Zaquan Patterson. It could have, there are a lot of different guys he could have put back there. Markeith Williams, who's another 3rd-year guy. In the end, though, today, after 5-6 practices, Miami's DC basically says, Harris is running with the ones. And look, they're going to play a lot of different guys there. But Jaden Harris did start 2 games last year when Cam Kitchens was out. I thought he played pretty well in both of those games. Wasn't a standout, but he didn't disappoint either. So to me, I think it's a matter of, can he go out there and hold on to the job? Because Zaquan Patterson is somebody the coaching staff is really excited about. One thing Guidry did say today about the freshman was that, in spring, didn't really understand everything. Now he understands everything in fall camp. And that's one of the benefits when you're able to get a guy in spring. They can spend all spring learning, and by the fall, they could be ready to play. And I think that's what they feel about Zaquan Patterson.
All right, good stuff there. Although, it's kind of the same thing as the wide receivers. It's almost like we took it for granted how great they were constantly a wide receiver, how great they were constantly at defensive back. And these are things that they're skill positions that we used to excel at. We used to watch them. It was the next guy and the next guy and the next guy.
I mean, listen, blame Nick Saban. Blame Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, Alabama and Georgia. I mean, they came in here. Look, they got guys for decades out of this area at those 2 positions. And oh, by the way, look who's the best team in college football every single year, right? It's those 2 teams now. So it's once you start a pipeline, once other kids start seeing the best players in the country go to the same school and have success and win champion, and it's been 20 years since Miami's been relevant. It's hard to kind of get back on the horse. That's why Mario's here. That's why when people said, oh, Miami always had talent, it's like, no, dude, go look at the NFL. It's not producing the same way they were back in their heyday.
Not anymore. Now, the real question is, the Arizona Cardinals have introduced the cotton candy burrito to their menu.
Yep.
There's M&Ms. There's I don't know, it looks like sprinkles in there. And I mean, whoever eats that burrito next to you is going to be farting up a storm, bro. I don't want True Fin Fan eating that burrito next to me while I'm because True Fin Fan, I see him right there on the chat board. He is our notorious farter.
Yes.
And
that looks like a diabetic coma to me. Oh, yes. That's what that looks like. I mean, and I have diabetes, so I would not come anywhere near that. Unless I wanted to end up in the hospital.
A cotton candy burrito. That's some nasty ass shit. All right, boy, Bruce Feldman has got
Yes.
2 freaks on the list.
Yep.
Who are they?
Francis Mauigoa is the first one, which shouldn't come as a surprise.
Shocker.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. 341 pounds, lean muscle, ridiculous strength and power. The new addition is the freshman, the 5-star defensive lineman, the top 10 recruit that Miami just signed this past year that Mario is super excited about. That's Justin Scott out of Illinois, who is just a freak. And when I was reading some of the stuff about this kid, first of all, I mean, just the athlete that he is, to be 300 plus pounds and to be able to move the way that he does is just absolutely ridiculous. But the fact that he made Bruce's list already as a true freshman tells me that he's really, really something special. And look, he may not start. Miami's got a lot of experience, defensive linemen and tackles in general on this team, guys that are going to play in front of them. But I would not be surprised if by week 6, week 7, week 8, that dude is heavily in the rotation and eventually taking over a starting job because he's that kind of a talent. And it's hard. Most true freshmen don't come into the D tackle position and make an impact. But, it's one of those positions where if you are a freak, and he is a freak, he's one of the 101 freaks in the country, according to our Bruce Feldman, then you can certainly make an impact and play. And I think Miami fans should be excited about that kid because I've heard nothing but great things about him.
Well, True Fin Fan says, Manny, I am way off for feeling like this year's Canes team is going to be a pleasant surprise. I've said 2025 since we got Mario, but this feels good right now. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be in the playoff. I don't know whether or not they win the conference, but I think they're going to be I think them and Florida State are the 2 best teams in the ACC. Pretty hands down. I know everybody's going to talk about Clemson and Dabo Swinney, and rightfully so. He recruits well, and they've got talent on that team. But they took a step back. They're not using the transfer portal. NC State is a respectable team, but are they an elite team? Not really. Louisville last year made the ACC championship game. Miami was with them in the fourth quarter. It was a close game. Blew it basically because of the quarterback play for the Hurricanes. So I think this is the year Miami finally takes that step up. It's year 3. It's time for Mario Cristobal to win. And so I'm believing the hype. I'm buying the hype this year.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. What do you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Well, lots to read from everybody out there. I just wrote that Pitbull FIU story this morning. But I will have my predictions, my oddly specific predictions. We just did a podcast. Chris Vanini and I did that. Last year I hit on 33% of my preseason oddly specific predictions, though, which isn't bad. You hit 330 in baseball. That's pretty good. It's hard to hit a bunch of other ones, but so I'll be having that come out on the 15th. I'm working on a bunch of other preview stuff, transfer portal, who are the best transfers. So there'll be lots to read, brother. There'll be a ton of it there.
All right, there you go. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navaro. And don't forget, you go to Caneswear, use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off of anything in the store. You can also do it online at Caneswear.com. And if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. So use our code BIG010. Manny, we will catch up on Friday, my friend. Thank you.
Good talking to you, brother. Talk soon.
You got it.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at Caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right. Oh, man. What do we got here? Thanks, Big O and Manny. Thank you, True Fin fans. Skylar Tipton, don't sleep on Clemson, huh? Oh, cotton candy flatulence is actually very sweet. Great for Valentine's Day surprises. Chase one says, I have the biggest sweet tooth, and that, sir, looks nasty. So my idea of inviting you both to a game and eating this burrito is a no-go. No, it's definitely a no-go. Definitely not. Fine. You cut me deep. LOL. Boy, I don't know if you could pay me that burrito looks disgusting. Just looks gross. My God. It's like for a 7-year-old. That's the only I don't know if an adult can eat that thing because it's nasty. That is nasty. Very nasty. Don't forget to smash the hell out of that like button. What do we got here? By the way, did you see this? Elon Musk sues advertisers, alleging a massive advertiser boycott deprived the social platform of billions of dollars. That is funny, dude. Like, you're suing people because you're incompetent? Like, you told advertisers to get lost. He's the weirdest dude out there, bro. He has a product that caters more to the left, but all of his politics are far right. It's like the weirdest thing in the world. It's like, yo, dude, you know that you need the left for your business to thrive because they're the ones that are going to be more green. You need the people in the middle and the people in the left to help you out, but you're all far right. So it's like, it's funny. It's weird. And then when he took over, he kind of shit on advertisers. Like, screw you if you don't want to be a part of it. Now you want to sue them? It's advertising. They choose to be with you or not. It's their choice. It's the weirdest thing. Anyway. Saw Blink 182 at Lollapalooza this past Sunday was epic. So many Finns jerseys were out there representing. Nice. Nice. Blink 182 is a terrific band, bro. Big O, if we eat that burrito, we definitely would get stage 37 diabetes. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. I can't believe my team I drive for wants to give their fans stage 37 diabetes. Yep, Chris. Yep, your Cardinals want to pollute us. By the way, let me get the music stuff always out of the way. And here we go. Start off with some of this. By the way, David Furones will join us at the top of the hour. We'll get his thoughts on practice today. Let's go with musicians born on this date and birthdays today. Jerry Halliwell from the Spice Girls, born on this date in 1972. Joyce Sims, you are my all in all. You know, it says Come Into My Life was her biggest hit single. I think it's all in all. Anyway, she was born in 1959. Randy DeBarge was born in 1958 on this date from the group DeBarge. Rhythm of the Night. Let's see who else. Andy Warhol, pop artist, producer. So born in 1928. Not sure why he's really, I don't know if I consider him a musician. It would be more of a famous person, but oh well, he's there. Let's go with other famous folks celebrating birthdays today. Some girl named Spice is a reggae singer. She's 42. I have no idea who she is, but a cool name like Spice, I might as well venture. Ooh, Vera Farmiga, actress. She is 51. Good actress. Let's see who else. Lucille Ball, born on this date in 1911. We lost her in 1989. Let's see who else celebrating a birthday today on the famous side. Sidney Colson, basketball player, 35. And Robin Van Persie, soccer player, futbolista. He is 41. Soleil Moon Frye. She is 48, the TV actress. Sean, do we have any wrestlers celebrating birthdays today?
Yes, we do. We have Tony Nese is 39, and Dino Bravo was born on this date in 1948. We lost him in 1993. Those are your birthdays for August 6th.
All righty. By the way, Hialeah Park will be there on Thursday. We've got the no regret first bet going on. You can use that QR code, sign up for it. You go through the Hialeah website. If you already have a Hard Rock account, don't use the same email or cell number, okay? Use a different one. So you make your bet, you get your $100. You're in. There you go. Take advantage. The no regret first bet at Hialeah. By the way, they're giving away an Alfa Romero this month. It's already going on at the end of the month. So you go and play the slots, and you get entries every time you play a slot. So you got some loose slots out there. Go play those loose slots and go get some entries, and who knows, you might win. The slots are loose. So there you go. All right, let's go with music history today. August 6th, 1988, Guns N' Roses' debut album, Appetite for Destruction, went to number 1 after 57 weeks on the charts. In 2009, Aerosmith singer Steven Tyler was airlifted to the hospital after falling off stage during a gig at Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in South Dakota, suffering neck and shoulder injuries. He's fallen off stage like a couple of times. In 64, now he had to retire because his voice never recovered, unfortunately. In 64, on this day, Rod Stewart made his TV debut on the British music show The Beat Room as a member of the Hoochie Coochie Man. In 89, U2 bassist Adam Clayton was arrested in Dublin for marijuana possession and intent to supply the drug to another person. His conviction was waived when he donated a ton of cash to a home for victims of domestic abuse. Weed. We're bothering people for weed. So ridiculous. In 2008, Lollapalooza took over Chicago with sets from Rage Against the Machine, 9 Inch Nails, Radiohead, and others. That's what happened today in music history. All right. Hey, Sean, give me 30 seconds, bro. I got to clear my nose and my throat so I can survive here the rest of the way. 30 seconds.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Miles an hour, that's a Category 4 hurricane. 3 deaths are reported in Florida after more than 24 were killed in the Caribbean. This
All right. Thank you all. Welton Rayom. We love talking about Jeff Walton, Daniel Rayom, 954-966-4646. Listen, folks, we now know, if you haven't learned yet, it has nothing to do about hurricanes only, okay? If you think it's only a hurricane, you're seeing it now. It could be a tropical storm. It could be a tropical depression. It could be a heavy rain shower. And it happens all the time now, as you see what's happened on the West Coast and on the northern part of Florida for some of our Floridians. So listen, man, keep this number save it on the cell phone, because maybe you don't need Jeff Welch or Daniel Rayom right now, but you might need them next week. You might need them next month. 954-966-4646. Look, a lot of people are dealing with financial issues. So if you're dealing with bankruptcy, they can help you out. Homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. They do so much. Their offices are in Hollywood. The consultation's completely free. So pick up the phone and call Jeff Welter, Daniel Rayom right now. Explain your situation, and they'll tell you if you have a case. 954-966-4646. Let's see. Big O and Sean, glad to see you're getting better. Un trajo de rom with limón y honey works great. Yeah. Yeah. That would rum. Some people tell you it's whiskey. So you like rum? Some people tell you whiskey. I haven't done either one. The lemon and honey, yes, but not the liquor one. Lollapalooza is such a good time. Yes, it is. There's no doubt about that. No doubt. All right, let's do it. Let's talk a little football. Let's see. We told you what we saw at camp today. Let's talk to the one and only David Furones in our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welt and Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well. Wrapped up day one of joint practices here, so get to see the Dolphins go against another team for the first time, so was pretty fired up about that, and got another one tomorrow. And then this year's pretty cool where they'll get one against Washington and one against the Buccaneers, so 3 different opponents that you get to see the Dolphins go against.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I'd like to know, were they actually stoned today? Because they were kind of slow on the offensive line. Because that was not good today. That was a really bad performance by. They did all right in the one-on-ones because I went over there and I walked over there and I watched it. Patrick Paul had one good rep, but the other ones were bad for him, unfortunately. Although he did pancake a guy in the 11-on-11s. But overall, man, I gotta say, Atlanta, whenever they blitzed, they had their way with Miami, and it was some trouble for the quarterback.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I feel like you still saw a lot of pretty clean pockets for the quarterback. So I know Lorenzo Carter got in there a couple times. I know one where Tua had to kind of evade one rusher and then held on to it a little bit. And at that point, he was just tucking the ball, not even looking downfield anymore. And Carter got to him on one of those times. But still, I mean, I thought you still saw a lot of the offense executing well as far as just the timing in the offense. River Craycraft was tremendous this practice. He had so many downfield catches. And was a different quarterback.
He's just a football player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. You know, there's athletes out there, and then there's football players. And River Craycraft is a football player, man. That's what I like about him. He does it all out there, and he's solid. Yeah. You can count on the guy, you know?
He was definitely my stock-up player today because you saw him with different quarterbacks running different routes of intermediate depth and the 20, 25-yard, down the field range.
Right.
Whether left sideline, right sideline, over the middle, from different alignments. So, I mean, very versatile practice that we saw in the first setting against an opponent. Obviously, the big highlight was Tua to Tyreek deep down the field. I mean, Patrick Paul, he had a couple of good reps in those one-on-ones. He slipped on one of them. But that was after kind of like a couple of seconds of holding up, and then he kind of slipped toward the end of it. But one of them, man, he just sent like Lorenzo Carter. He just kept sending him out and out and out. So even though Carter was running past him, it was kind of like he was away from the point of attack that he would be trying to get to on the quarterback. So I mean, solid progression that you're seeing out of him. I mean, some up and down play from the offensive line. Also, a couple snapping issues came back up after it had been a few practices since we had seen them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, so for you gave what grade to the offensive line in the 11 on 11s?
I could go, in the B- range. Oh yeah, you're way down on them, huh?
No.
I felt like there were still a lot of instances where it was just a clean pocket. I know sometimes watching these practices, the times when it breaks down, which, yeah, I know. When you're watching a game, a couple of sacks, then those are the plays you harp on. But overall, I felt like it was okay for a lot of those pass plays. And run game a little bit inconsistent. You saw them work on some runs to the outside. Some of them got stuffed around the line of scrimmage, but then they broke free on a few. So that's kind of the give and take that you have with this offense.
Okay. Did anybody stand out for you on the offensive line? They did have a couple of low snaps today.
Yeah, that was that. Mm-hmm. Robert Jones had a good one-on-one period, as well as I liked what I saw from Patrick Paul in those that I mentioned. In the 11 on 11, it's tough to single out someone, but this is a group now like without Teron Armstead, so I think that'll be a boost once you do have him around, and so guys need they need to progress, they need to step up, but overall, I'm not too down on the O-line after watching it. Overall, I think the Dolphins won the day, really on both sides. I would give them a win, both offensively and defensively, from what I saw.
Okay, all right. What else stood out to you on the wide receiver side outside of Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, Willie Snead had a couple of drops, so he was actually my stock down player today. He did have a couple of drops. One of them from Tua Tagovailoa, which I think was the first time we see Tua throw to Willie Snead, the guy who called him soft.
No, he caught an inside one on the left side of the field a couple days. When his first day, he caught a touchdown from Tua.
Now, was that in a one-on-one or
one-on-ones? Yes, they were one-on-ones.
In one-on-ones, yeah, right. So Willie Snead, he did mention that one when he spoke to us after that practice. All right, got it. But as far as in the full 11 on 11, at least I haven't seen one previously. So that was kind of like the first one. All right, no hard feelings between the two.
Yeah, but this is a guy that's battling for a practice squad spot, not even a roster spot. What they did with him was they hired a coach. That's what they did. They got a guy that can help, Malik and all these other guys run the slot, and they can learn because he knows the system inside and out. So basically, he's kind of, and he is in good shape, I will say that, but he's really there to be almost like a coach more than anything else.
Yeah, and he comes from he was just in San Francisco. Yeah. So he comes from running a similar system. So, yeah, veteran wide receiver. You see these added in training camp. Like I think just last year it was a Kiki Kuti that they added. Remember? It's like kind of it was a year ago, but such a short period of time. Then you have the whole season play out and you forget. But he was there, and I can't remember who else, but there was someone. I remember a veteran receiver. Either 2 training camps or 3 ago
those are different examples than this one. This is a specific example that they've got a bunch of young guys that need to learn how to play the slot. So let's go get a guy that we know that has played in the system and knows it, and he can run all those routes, and the young guys can see him and all that kind of stuff and learn how to play the game. And so that's kind of what they brought him in to teach the young guys how to be a pro in this system. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what he's here for. Whereas Kiki Kuti was brought here to be an extra speed guy, return guy, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? This guy, I think, is brought in for other reasons because he's got no shot at contributing as a receiver. You've got receivers way better than him at this point and younger. So, it's not like he's going to earn any kind of playing time, but he can be a very valuable piece on your practice squad, actually.
Yeah,
really.
You kind of have those roster spots secured with maybe like some competition for that, like a one extra one. But it's great, to your point, for Malik Washington to get to work with exactly this guy right here in Willie Snead, a veteran that is familiar with this offense, can work the slot. And hey, even Washington today, nice catch from on a ball from Mike White, was thread in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That might have been Mike White's second best throw of camp already. That was a nice
quick
one.
Right, right. Yeah, kind of zipped it in there with a converging defender coming in and got it there. And then good hands from Malik Washington, concentration, and to secure the ball with the defender incoming, even though it wasn't like, maybe in the game he'd get lit up by that guy, but still, kind of like grabbed hold of it. He had it in a secure spot where you felt comfortable that even if he was taking a hit, he would hold on to that ball.
Dude, did you see Chop Robinson line up over the center and blow up a running play?
Okay, yeah, some different alignment too. Now, so the way we split it, because there's so much going on, I had my eyes on the offense.
I asked. That's why, because I know the person can't see everything. Dude.
Right. Yeah, in these joint settings, but Perk, my colleague, had his eyes on the defense, so I was relaying notes or he was relaying notes and highlights to me on what he saw for our practice report, and so that's interesting. Yeah, because I think we've seen him come up the middle sometimes. Versatile aspect to his game. And I think Weaver's going to get creative with the different things that he can do with so many different guys.
No, I know, but that's nice to see that you can, they already have that kind of confidence that they're going to move Chop around like that. That's pretty interesting. And here's where you've got, so you're third and long. Okay. And I talked about this in the offseason that you can now, instead of lining up normal defensive tackles inside, you can then line up several pass rushers. And since Chop can play inside, Phillips can play inside at times, by the way, you can have Chubb and Kamara on the outsides. You understand? You can mix shit up like that. Or Calais Campbell can be one of the guys inside or outside. So there's a lot of moving parts to it all. So if you really need to get a pass rush, then you put extra pass rushers at that position, and guys that can play inside, like Phillips and Chop, apparently, that have some inside skills, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Chubb is not the guy you play inside, but these kind of cats are. It's kind of like the opposite of what you have to go get Willie Snead, because Odell Beckham is not a slot receiver, and he's never been in this system. So he can't go teaching the young guys a position he doesn't play and a system he's never been in. Whereas this, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the opposite in the way you're using this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what you're saying about these edge rushers and the multiplicity of how they could use them all, that's pretty exciting when you factor in that, all right, they're going to have to play an elevated role early on, and they already are in training camp with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb on PUP, and maybe Chubb takes longer than Phillips at this point, but that they're already going to get those reps, that experience, and then once you have all of them come together, then the different things that you could do, that it's got to be really exciting for Dolphins fans to really just let your mind run free on what can be done with all these different guys, the packages that Anthony Weaver can throw out there when he has them all healthy.
Linebackers, what'd you see from any of them?
David Long in there, he's getting more and more reps. Duke Riley was the orange jersey player of the day, so he's been playing an elevated role because we haven't seen Jordan Brooks or Anthony Walker for several practices now as they deal with injury. Jordan Poyer at safety, similar thing. So these are all things that Mike McDaniel told us yesterday he's not too concerned about, but so we've seen guys have to step up, Duke Riley being one of them, so a big reason why he earned the orange jersey, and we've seen him have to get thrown into that sort of that realm of play of Jerome Baker going down last year, and he would leave a lot to be desired at times, especially in coverage and whatnot, but still someone who knows how to communicate and relay calls on a defense. So I think that's mainly what you need to see, and then of course obviously you want to see the play come together, but I think the defense overall, especially early on, they held up against the Falcons. The Falcons seemed a little shaky offensively to start, struggled with their offense, and then they settled in a bit, and the defense, I think, got so worn down as they went, but still had an overall really strong day for the defense, especially when you consider that start and how dominant they really were at the start of 11s.
Tua, what grade you give him overall today?
Yeah, Tua, he hit several different throws, had the long throw to Tyreek, did throw an interception that wasn't too great, thrown behind Craycraft, and Mike Hughes, the same corner who got roasted earlier, got him for that one. So, For Tua,
he went after. I don't know if you noticed it, but after the session was done, Tua went and sought Mike Hughes and was like, "Hey, nice job by you." On he was congratulating him on the interception. So that's cool. It's and it's smart, by the way, also.
Yeah. So, I mean, for Tua, it was like an average day. He did have an interception. So for his standards, it might be a C+.
He had some trouble with some of the pressures because they blocking. It's like they disrupted the call right away. They disrupted the play right away.
Yeah, but the system has to have that built into it. It's get the ball out quick, type of deal that Tua will have to operate because I mean he's used to that from really since he started. But even last year and keeping him clean, that was a big part of it. So it's something the Dolphins will have to continue to work on. But yeah, so I struggled at times, but this is when you want to try some different things. And hey, even if you see how long you can get that pass protection to hold up, so you have that gauge for the games, and then come week one, like you saw against the Chargers last year, week one, kept Tua clean, even against the Chargers pass rush that was touted going in with the tackle trouble that the Dolphins were having. Hey. You kept them clean, and it was a byproduct of the system, getting the ball out quick. And you kind of know from your whole training camp and preseason what you have to work with when it comes to that. So you come into the start of the season prepared by testing it out in these practices, seeing how long you can get it to hold up. And then finally come game time, you adjust with your play calls accordingly.
All right. It doesn't take much to say this or do it because he's been, unfortunately, really bad. But I can't say that this training camp, Channing Tindall has had his best training camp so far of his young career. Again, that's not really hard to do considering the first two have not been at all anything. But did you see anything from him today? Did you see anything from Quentin Bell today? Some of these other guys.
Well, Quentin Bell had a quieter practice than other days, but I think was it him? He still had a pass bat down, if I'm not mistaken, coming through on a rush, if I saw it correctly. Channing Tindall, didn't see too much of him today. And I've seen some flashes throughout camp. Nothing that makes me say, you're seeing best camp he's had, which again isn't saying much, but some minor flashes here and there.
Plays, so let's give him credit when he does make some plays.
Sure, absolutely.
Because he's been much maligned and well deserved, but. It's like what I was talking about the other day is he's had his best camp so far. Doesn't mean he's going to make this team. He probably isn't, but he might actually get a shot somewhere else now. You know what I mean? That he can put something on film that's positive. These games are going to be so important for a guy like Tindall, man, because he's going to get some playing time.
Well, think about it. The Dolphins essentially added another linebacker, a veteran linebacker ahead of him because you have Jerome Baker go out. And you have two guys come in Jordan Brooks and Anthony Walker, with David Long returning, and Duke Riley was kept. So there was talk about whether they'd cut him for some salary cap relief. So Duke Riley was kept, and the orange jersey player today. So that's already four guys right there at inside linebacker that Channing Tindall is inevitably behind, and will not be able to just surpass magically in one camp, even as he improves. So. But his improvement could be a byproduct of working with Joe Barry, an experienced defensive coach who's been a defensive coordinator and now back down at the linebacker coach rank. So it'd be good to get his thoughts when the next time we get to see him. It was such a hectic day when we had the defensive coaches last. That I think I was at either Anthony Weaver or Ryan Crow, the new outside linebackers coach, maybe Austin Clark. When we had the defensive coaches, I didn't get to talk to Joe Barry, but could be good to get his thoughts on Tindall next time we see them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's talk about another much maligned player, Liam Eichenberg. What'd you think so far of what he's done in camp and then today?
Yeah, I feel Liam is progressing. You see less and less of the slip-ups and not in as great of frequency. I know even last training camp he was still struggling. Here and there you'll still see some struggles, but I think right now I would put him up there to win the right guard spot right now. So I like what I'm seeing. I think the versatility he has added is benefiting him, and that'll also help when it comes to needing a backup center who also could start at right guard, something like that. And so right now, Liam and Robert Jones, as the Dolphins released in their first depth chart, seem to be leading the way at right and left guard, respectively. And Isaiah Wynn is yet to get immersed into this competition because he remains on PUP. But yeah, I mean, so far, I know a lot of fans see Liam Eichenberg's name, and they don't love to see him as the number one guard. But
they hate him. They can't stand his ass, bro. I mean, seriously, nobody likes Liam Eichenberg. I'm going to trust these guys. I think he's going to end up being and have a solid year for them. We'll see. He does end up on the floor a lot, as one media member told me today. It's true, and he was on the floor today on one of the plays. But he has improved, so we'll see. We'll see, because that one's kind of interesting.
It's a matter of the consistency for him.
All right, give me one name we haven't mentioned that we should have mentioned.
One name we haven't mentioned that we should have in today's practice, or
in today's practice.
In today's practice, let me see. We talked about so much. I'm actually going to pull up my my practice report and see if I find something that I like. There was so much going on today. You know what? All right.
He had a great day today, but I really like how Kader Kohu is developing this year.
Okay.
I think
he's
going to excel in this system. Actually, he looks much more comfortable in this system than he did last year with old man Fangio.
You know who? The undrafted rookie corner, Jason Maitre.
Maitre makes a play every day. I was already telling somebody today, he already made the practice squad, Jason Maitre.
Right.
He made the practice squad. Guarantee you he made the practice squad. That kid makes a play in every practice.
Yeah, he breaks up a pass every practice. Actually, similar. I mean, Cam Smith was getting a lot of solid reviews last training camp, and it was because a similar thing, like you saw him make a play. Like a ball was sent his way, closing speed to get there and break up a pass. I mean, just the other day, was it last practice? He was covering Tyreek Hill, and Tua was throwing. So he stopped a Tyreek Hill, Tua to Tyreek Hill bomb with good coverage, got his left hand up there, timed it perfectly. He was on it. And then in one-on-ones today against the Falcons, had a couple pass breakups. So I think that'd be one name I'd say. Lower on the undrafted rookie out of Wisconsin.
I like that. It's a great one, because immediately when you mentioned it, I said I was talking about him today. Yeah. And Jason's already made the practice squad. I can already tell you that he's definitely one of those guys you want in the practice squad. He won't make the regular roster, but there's a need there. Although if you keep putting this on film, he won't last on the practice squad.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
He plays in the preseason, somebody will scoop his ass up.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
He'll be one to watch in the preseason games, because he'll get a lot of reps in those games as you have times when starters sit and whatnot, or if they do play, it's just a series or two. And he's one guy to keep an eye on at corner, number 43, Jason Maitre.
Yep, he makes a play all the time. All right, what do you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I was just writing today's practice report, all the observations from the joint session against the Atlanta Falcons. I wrote about now is Javon Holland next, as Tyreek Hill got his contract. It's looking like maybe not so for him, especially when you listen to him and he's just focusing on the season. And Mike McDaniel yesterday, his comments on Javon Holland. So read up on that situation, especially with the Dolphins so tied up salary cap wise now, committed in future seasons. So.
By the way, just in case, because this guy Finn Rule on the chat board, my man, you're not really following it. You go after the Hill contract adjustment. The Dolphins have $35.8 million of cap space. They're over the cap next year, like 40-something million. They're going to have to roll over this to next year, my brother.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not like they can go, and they still have to sign Javon Holland. It's not as easy as you think, bro. This isn't the money printer of the Feds. Okay. That's our dollar that they devalue by printing all the time. You can't do that. There's only a certain amount of dollars, a certain cap space, and Miami is way over it next year, and that's why they need this money to roll over for next year. Correct, David?
Yeah, exactly. And Javon Hollins is at the head of that list, and then even Jalen Phillips too. Now you do have him on the 5th-year option as well after this year, but he was a member of the same draft class.
Unless he tears ass this year, he has no shot at getting a contract. He will play on the 5th-year option.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
He's coming off the Achilles, right? So
yeah,
that's why you hold on there.
Yeah.
So that's why Javon Holland is sort of the name that's in flux here in that balance in between. That's the big one to wonder about. So what about him today, and then and we'll have more tomorrow.
You got it, and we'll catch up with you on Friday. I will see you tomorrow at 10:10, my man. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Don't forget, Welton Rayom. I'm telling you, folks, we are a major disadvantage with the new laws, and the consumer is at a disadvantage. The insurance company has all the advantages. The only way we get that advantage back is by having the right lawyers. If you don't have the right lawyers, you're going to pay the price. Call Jeff Welt or Daniel Rayom. They are ass kickers. 954-966-4646. If you suffered some condo damage, business owner claims, homeowner property damage, even bankruptcy or personal injury, they can help you. 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
All right. Holland got banged up. He was fine. He was all right. He talked to us after and everything. Not a big deal. Can you explain that again? Well, they're like 40-something million over the cap next year. The 35 million that they have, they can roll it over to next year to kind of offset. So that way, then you only have a certain amount of millions to play with that you can then get back under the cap. So like it'll be only 9 million instead, so you roll it over to the next year. Now, the 35 won't be available because they'll pay Holland and stuff, so it'll be a little less. But they're going to have to roll some of that over into next year. So that way it balances out. The money you didn't use this year, you can put it to the money that you already used in the future. You understand? So that's kind of the way it goes in simple terms. It's a lot more complicated than that, but just think of it. Your cap savings this year moves over to cap deficit next year. So you can offset your cap deficit with your cap savings. Get it? And that's kind of what you're doing. And then next year, what you'll do is you'll rework a couple contracts to kind of then get under. Tyndall is toast. Gonzo, you are correct. But my point is, from the get-go, is that the young man, at least, if he has a good camp, because he's, made a couple of plays, he's had his best camp so far. But if he at least plays well and has some impact, somebody else will give him a chance. That's my point, because he was headed for Nothingville, like get cut and go home, like nobody would want you. At least now you're doing something, and hopefully, you feel bad for these guys, man. And listen, if Tyndall was a jerk, was lazy, was Preston Williams, I wouldn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? But he's a good dude. He works hard. He's trying. Hasn't worked out for him. Now it's kind of working out for him. So you got to root for good people that are working hard and trying to do the right thing. I don't root for the lazy guy that the Lord gave him the gifts and he's not, taking advantage of it. That's the guy I don't root for. That's the guy I have no sympathy for. But for a guy like Channing Tyndall, he's not getting arrested. He's not late to meetings. He's not a bad dude. Young man that hasn't found his way yet. Channing Tyndall is no different than you and I. When we're 18 or 22 or 25 or 26, when, that's the age when we're all trying to find who we are, where we belong. Kind of happens in sports too. Sometimes you're not in the right system. You're not with the right coach. You're not with the people that believe in you or whatever. And maybe that's been the case for the young man. You know what I'm saying? But I tend to root for people like this, at least, and hope that it turns out better for them, because they're setting the right example for being a professional. Unlike some of these other guys, Jimmy Butler, who sets a terrible example of how to be a professional the last 2 years. Like, that's absolutely stealing money, and you're not even trying. That's like a slap in the face of everybody. So that's kind of what I said that last week when I said Tyndall's having his best camp. I said, he's probably not going to make it here, but if you open up eyes, maybe somebody gives you a chance somewhere else. So let's hope so, for his sake. We all chase a dream, right? We all want to do whatever it is that we do in life, that we want to open a business or want to be this in this career or that career, things like that. You know, he's no different than you and I. Am I worried about Brewer? He seems so inconsistent. Same thing with Eichenberg and Jones. Actually, he's been consistent. It's just the pad stuff has thrown them off a little bit. And today was the pads. And it was less than it was the first couple of days with the pads. So let's see how it develops the rest of this week and see if it starts trending in a better direction. It wasn't so bad today, but there were a couple low snaps. So true, man. I always root for good people in their dreams. Why be so miserable? Best of luck, Channing Tindall, wherever it is, here or anywhere else. Exactly. You know, Miami will save $34 million in cap next season when Armstead retires. I don't know how much the number will be and all that other stuff, but we'll see. It all, you know, that kind of stuff ends up balancing out. It won't be as big as you think it is when it's all, like I said, it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not as simple, but it's not like they're going to have all kinds of room and all that. They're going to be able to make some moves, but I doubt they're going to make any more moves this year. I think they're done. They're not going after a big money offensive lineman or anything like that at this point. I doubt, unless they suffer some kind of an injury that then they have no choice or something. You know, that's about it. But outside of that, I think they're set with what they have. All right, we are out of here, folks. I'm sorry. I did 2 hours today. As you can see, I'm not 100% yet. So hopefully in the next couple days, I'll be able to get a little better. I'm going to rest. I appreciate all of you out there for tuning in. Those of you that sent in a super chat, thank you. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. You can send in a Bitcoin donation. As always, I appreciate it. On behalf of Sean Stanley, who masters this entire platform, Ira Winderman, Manny Navaro, and David Furones, we will see you all tomorrow in the afternoon again. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O